Okay, great. Bird here again. We're back. So when I asked for a random piece, I got that one. We can always do another, but anyway, when I asked for one, I got this one. And that's cool, right? Because it connects to what we saw in the last video. Oh yeah, have a look at this moss, right? Why don't you? I'm going to show you a couple other things I took photos of too, but anyway, we're going to get into another one. So yeah, in the what we looked at in the last show. Remember, we could see this, and I said, yeah, this is a spin-off from something like the beginning of the Just for Fun, which we'll even bring up if I can find it. I'm sure I can actually do that pretty easily. Let's just do it. Go to the library, go to the Just for Fun collection. I guess it's in the projects or something. Just for Fun. It's moved here, right? I imported all this stuff. Okay, so what's done? These ones. Okay, never got to 333. Now it's become a historical strange thing because there was going to be 333, but I'm not able to add it. You don't even see it here at the beginning. Now that one's not even part of it, the one that started it. But how do we know? Yeah, I'm not even sure where to find that. Whatever. Yeah, dancing on the beach. Okay, so I guess my art. Yeah, but then how do we know which one it is? Okay, we don't really, right? It's probably one of these. Don't really know. Anyway, there's this, right? There's the beginning. See, the thing is that the reason that that one's there, not in there, not as the first one, is that it was a work in progress. I was trying to figure it out, right? I was trying to make it happen. Um, Here's one, right? The thing is a work in progress. Okay, so that's why there's a bunch of variations there. This is from a long time ago, by the way. Yeah, so you can see this, and I built this, right? And it is based on a photo, but then I created this thing here. Okay, so that became the icon for the whole collection, right? And then you see the other things that are in it. But anyway, there you go. You can see that I'm not making it up. It's actually real, right? And so the image that we saw in that other one. I'm like, yeah, it's based on that. It absolutely is. It evolved from it. Here's one of those. That's what popped up when we asked for a random piece. Okay. It's just kind of a flowing creative thing. I don't know why those are not coming up then. It's like no path found. But the thing is, it tells me right here what it is, right? So if we want to go to that one, we can. Actually, I don't even like that one that much, right? Um, totally. You have to remember the index number too. If I type that in, if I enter it in, I got to put that number too to get the right one. Okay, so let's see what the next one is too. Oh, well, now we're back to the same thing again. Well, a similar one, right? Okay, and that's not the only thing I made. How many images did I make? Well, at least a quarter million, right? In Mid Journey. Okay, there you go. Cosmic Inventor, crafting a mythic planet. Okay, that connects a bit with um, Douglas Adams, right? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because those mice commissioned the creation of a planet like Earth, and you go down into its computational matrix. Remember? Definitely a great movie, great story. This is getting pretty good, right? So this is obviously just continuing from uh last session or the last part, like what we just did, which was part two. Now we're here in part three. Welcome, welcome. How you doing today? Here it is, style that I was looking for. Okay, so you can see how we're like improving it, right? We're making it more like a cleaner style and stuff. You can see how it's evolved from a building into a robot. So this is pretty cool because it's happening right before your eyes, right? I didn't even do any art in between, right? I was just being interviewed. And then I made a video, which I'm uploading right there, and told a story and alluded to the interview, right? So that's good. And here, now this is based on a style of this infinite playground idea. Okay. let's say that. Let's bring in the infinite playground words. Well, we can find that one, right? If we know what that one is, which we can do because it's based on the glyph rain, which is not at all hard to find. Okay, so we're gonna just go to the clips because I made the clip of the glyph rain. There it is, and it comes from this one. See, so this way we don't even have to look anything up. So that one is clipped from that image right there. I'm pretty sure it said index 0. Okay, and that matters, right? It's right there, right here. Okay, so there you go. Now the other things are interesting. It's just an imagine. It didn't evolve from anything, right? But the other things that I made, like with this prompt, were also interesting, but they may not all be super appropriate, and that's not intentional, right? It's trying to make I'm trying to make something. So yeah, infinite playground. Now, if we zoom in, right? If we clip part of this, you can the fastest way to do that is like this, like shift window S, but then you're not getting all the pixels, right? But anyway, say we do this, right? Part of this infinite playground that it goes out like as far as the eyes can see, right? Here we go. Say we make that clip, a new clip from that part. I've already clipped stuff from that, but like it, I'm just doing it like now before your eyes, right? So we know that the name of it is like this, right? Here it says clip two glyph rain and then that thing. But ours is going to be, it's from the same image, but it's a different clip, right? And I can just say whatever I want here or nothing or whatever, right? In this case, part of the playground. Okay, so I'm doing that and I'm just putting it in today's folder. Well, now it's the fourth, but I'm talking about the day that just happened, right? The third. Okay, so that was it. Now we're gonna make a playground there. But the reason I came here is just for this prompt. Okay, so like maybe the AI can just simplify that down a little bit. Like, okay, just to save our time, right? Make it a little easier. But anyway, the point is to talk about a playground here. But instead of only putting in the word playground, we're gonna have more detail, right? So the AI that knows about my work. Now, if this, oh, okay, that's not what we want. So now it's kind of like, it's kind of become silly, right? That defeated the purpose. But that's because it misinterpreted it and thinks I want to make art there. And the cool thing is when ChatGPT makes it, like DALI, it can be better at following instructions. And I can show you a couple examples of that if you'd like, right? So we're just gonna do this again. And I'm not going to correct the spelling mistake because it knows what I mean anyway, right? So why waste our time? We're not trying to be perfect. Okay. So now if the tab has a lot of memory usage, if it's like this is quite a long conversation, then it will run slower. And so it'll take longer for each request. Just a regular text thing, it will be. Okay. Um, and here it's an image or whatever. Okay. This is cool, right? And see, it's more detailed than what you would have got from Midjourney. And then also, I'm going to show you something else. So we're going to go back to like a lemming thing just yeah, a lemming. Yeah, we might as well. But the thing is, you have to know when it is. And if I don't really know which date that is, then we could flail around a bit. But that's not a problem. We won't flail because we'll just go back to images in here, right? Inside ChatGPT, and we'll just see it. So it doesn't matter. Like we don't need to go back to the exact folder. Okay. So it's all good. So it totally, oh yeah, so the raccoon one. Okay. Well, that's the same thing. It's like, well, I'm gonna have to find out which day that I did the raccoon world. I don't really know. And then I gotta search for it, right? Because if we know when it was, then we won't be wasting time trying to figure out which day to go to. Okay, so let's just go to that day there, the 23rd, June. So when you got the raccoon world, okay, let's go back. I guess I got to go back a bit. It just means that I mentioned the word raccoon in that chat. It's not relevant. So 22nd, the 15th. It's whenever I made a video. At least I think I did. Now here you get one of them, right? So you got this lemming fairway, lemming god fairway. Okay, there's a story behind this, of course, surveyors. Okay, so I call this lemmings. So we're out there in the field, we're surveying. I take photos of nature, right? I'm in nature. It's one of my aliveness pillars. I came up with that, right? So I'm getting more alive. Like, look at that. It's glorious. Check out this other one right here. Okay, now see we're looking at other patterns. We saw moss. Now we got a pile of ladybugs. They're real ladybugs. They're clustered together, and I had never seen them sleeping in a cluster or whatever they're doing. I had never seen that before, and it's on a piece of bark, and that's on the ground. Like this is macro, right? It's close up. Here we got mushrooms on the top of what I thought was a post, but it's just a cut off piece of a tree, right? Mushrooms. Okay, there. You made a few connections between these things. I see a lone ladybug in one place too. You'll see these. I have these swinging three idea musketeers, for example, maybe or mouseketeers or other things, swinging on those. Right, it comes from like a photo like that. This is also a lupin, but it's the lupin leaf instead of the flower with a ladybug. But that was earlier, so I hadn't seen this yet. It's a different day, different place, another time. Something like that, or something that might rhyme or might not rhyme at the same time, if that's even possible. Is he out of his mind? A lot of amazing things can be created once you get out of your mind like that. Look at this. Like that could be a seed, right? Every authentic expression is a seed of infinite creation. Look at this. It's obviously, and it may contain many seeds, right? It's the beginning of more life. It's incredible, right? So, lemmings, right? I call this lemmings because we were on a trail and we're following, and here's a king trail, there's an emperor thing. Okay, so in some trails that we went through the forest, I called it like fit for a king, right? This is a trail fit for a king. And then this part is like more open. So I had these categories. I started to categorize it eventually. Now this evolved over time, but then it's like this is a trail for emperor. Then I found when it was like a lemming god. It's a trail for a lemming god. It's so open and it's like almost flat and stuff. So that's where this joke comes from. This is made from that. Okay. These are two variations of it. Look at that. This freaking King Lemming's looking back at us over there, breaking the fourth wall right there by. Okay. So ChatGPT, in other words, DALI in here, is better at following exact instructions than Midjourney, I would say. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. You can also put art in that you made in Midjourney into ChatGPT, right? And it improves it. I've done that too, but we're not looking at that right now. If we happen to find it, then we will. Well, ChatGPT made this one too. I'd already made stuff about Metafox, but here this one was made by ChatGPT and is quite amazing. Okay, so what's the other one? Because I've got here this Lemming God Fairway, right? The first art about lemming, king lemmings, emperors. You only see the king lemmings there though, right? And you got this god. I think that's like a lemming god there. Because you look how much bigger he is than the others. And they got the golf, and then you got just like a peon with these blue areas, and those are the balls. Or like these are the balls. They're not the right size for lemmings. Like that doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's just the beginning. This is just what we got right at the beginning. It's amazing, right? That is amazing that this is what ChatGPT gave me right off the bat, right? So what's the other one? Well, it's the other thing we were looking for. It's the raccoon. Well, where is it? Let's check maybe the 15th, 9th. We already looked at the 15th. The 9th doesn't have any images in it. Well, what are we doing? Like, where's the raccoon? When did I do it? Okay, well, you can get the video. We could say, well, where's all the videos in here? Because if I have a video, all you need is any videos in there. So that's like, I'd use FD, find. So if we just look for anything that's an MP4, right, that would be good. Because only MP4s. are videos, and it doesn't even matter what they're called, right? Which is probably going to work like that. Oops, making the command, right? And then just pop it in. Let's just try that. Okay, but then it's all the videos. Okay, so it's not just like videos I made because it's also like things made in Midjourney and downloaded. It's only the ones that are downloaded, right? It doesn't include the ones I made that aren't downloaded. But you got your three gardens thing. We're gonna make more of that. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's fun, but this is just inspiration for art a long time ago, and then the thing's only partially made. But Midjourney wasn't very good back then, and so it was very difficult to do. Now it would be quite a lot easier. Just like my cheetah on with the jetpack thing. I brought it in like and used the same prompt, and it was like amazing, right? Like a year or two later. Okay, so we should see here. Now this isn't even sorted, so you'd have to also sort them, right? That's kind of silly. But I did this one, right? June 29th. It's probably the one before that. So we made whatever we made, right? Okay, it shows here 526. It's probably this. Like that should have the now there's actually 2 days. It's one after another. Raccoon World beginning, seed, right? And then the day after it. Not that this matters, right? But it would be. Okay, why does it have to do that weird stuff there? Okay, so what is this? Holy moly, I'm looking in the wrong year. That's not what I wanted. I disregarded that it was 2025. We only want 2026 only. Okay, I can see the three gardens here. I think it's after that though. See, we've got pretty much nothing here. Yeah, you got pretty much nothing there. That's weird. Maybe it's somewhere else. What about this though? It's like, it can't be that, can it? It just can't be. How could it? The raccoons? No, this is what I just did a few days ago. Okay, we don't know where it is. Okay, the raccoons are there. If you go and look at every day, you can try to find it. Then it's like silly because of, you know what I mean, like that. Like you don't even really know which day it is, right? Then yeah, so now it's like, fuck it, never mind. And I already showed you those. All right, here we go. Okay, well, that didn't simplify it very much. Let's just tell it what we want then. Okay, well, basically, I've got this thing here with this futuristic robot. I want to transform that scene by making it like an like an or part of an infinite playground. Also, tap into our historical creations about Infinite Playground. Okay, so we're just gonna bring it in. Oh no, it's doing it again too. Ridiculous. Okay, so it thought that I wanted to make the art because that's it. I didn't say make a mid-journey prompt. That's the problem. Okay, we've done it again. Okay, whatever, right? I'm just gonna copy and paste it in. All right, I'm just gonna simply put both of them together. That's one way we can do it. We're using this, or are we using that? No. We were before, but we're not now. We could, but we're not. I made a new clip. Remember? Let's do it. That's what we're here for. We're creating something. Actually, we were doing an art show, but now we're creating something. It's actually the next one. That was a seed from the last part. What is that? I think that might be a king, some kind of king character. Maybe it has a crown, beard. Or do you see something else, right? Maybe you do. Whatever you see, that's up to you. I saw this character. Remember, I showed you here we're taking an example of something we did before and then taking it to another level or like just doing it again in a different way, right? Remember the white-haired character? If you don't know, check the other part. Or I can show you it again, but that'll take longer. Then it will piss off the people that already saw that part. Okay, so here we go. That's a clip of an infinite play, yeah, part of a playground. Obviously, it's not infinite, it's just part of one. And so it may make it more pixelated because it's smaller. Okay, but it doesn't matter because after we do it once, we can iterate, we can then remove it as a style reference and put a different style reference in, just because that is going to affect the content as well. But um, but that gives me an idea. Uh-oh, right? Watch out. Don't worry. It's all it's all under control. No, it isn't. It doesn't have to be. Okay. So I put it in as a style reference. Yes, true. But what about as an image prompt? Well, yeah, it could be, right? It doesn't have to be the style reference. It could be both. That's what we're doing here. But oh yeah, I want to bring that in. Right. So anyway, I'm going to use it as an image prompt, but we'll use a different style reference. So we're going to cut to the chase more directly, and it's also an experiment. We're going to see what happens. So I'm doing it right now. Okay. It's right. What? There. See, it moves over a bit because another one was added, right? So they've all shifted. Okay, so that's the style reference. There we go. We're cutting the chase right away. We're going to see what happens when we do that experiment. Okay, so this is kind of silly because this isn't what I meant to do, but we're going to get something and we don't know what it is, right? Because I wanted it to, but then I'll just say now I meant a prompt. Right? I meant make a prompt. I have this prompt and I want you to transform that scene. The thing is that it just rendered it. But it then made another example of what I was saying. It's better at following instructions exactly and creating these worlds like the raccoon world. But where is it, right? Where is that? I don't know. Don't really know where it is. It normally I could find it. I'll just pause the video, right? I'll go to my YouTube and we'll just see when I uploaded it, right? Because I would have uploaded it probably right after I made it, and then we'll know exactly, and it will resolve itself. Or you can go in, you can search, right? You can go to your save search, raccoon, and then boom, see them, and then of course we'll know when we made them. So that's obviously the simplest way. But now this doesn't make it happen, just clicking on it. This is a start. We've selected it. Can you do more than one at once? No, you can't do that. Sphinx was one of my very first prompts in Midjourney, but this shows something different, like the cat, woman, Sphinx creatures. Okay. It'll still have that first prompt too if you scroll far enough back. But anyway, so yeah, we got to do something else too. Like let's say we only want images. Okay, so we don't need to go to um, YouTube because the raccoons are there. And then I did it for 2 days. And the first day was short, seeded the idea, and the second one developed it further and explored more and had more experiments. But ChatGPT, right, DALI in there, made a quite accurate raccoon world better than Midjourney did. So it was just another example I wanted to show you. But we got to scroll back in order to see it. Except that we can just see what day these were, and then we'll know already. See, it's a whole month ago, May 30th. Uh-oh. Well, I'm following I'm tracing that one back there by accident there. I didn't mean that. But anyway, okay. And so it said May 30th, so that's exactly what we'll do. That's why we don't want to go back day by day, right? Because you don't know when it was. Okay, well, I took some photos from nature. You saw like this here, like that. It's in the early spring or something, right? It's quite beautiful, right? What if we make someone's hat like made out of this thing, right? A small thing, a gerbil or something with the hat made out of that flower. Okay, so here you have these things, like from my moss. Ah, yeah, I took a photo of moss while surveying in the field, a flower near my house, I guess. and another one surveying in the field, like in the forest, and there's nice green ground cover there that was very beautiful, and it has a lot of different kinds of, well, it has a few plants in it, different kinds of plants. But anyway, so I create this raccoon world based on these as an inspiration. And yeah, here's the message, right? Back after these messages. Remember the magical being you came here to be, share your gifts, and create a life that truly feels alive to you, right? And now to continue with our regularly scheduled programming. Unprogramming. Okay, there. There's a bit of a flaw there, but that's why we edited this one later. So we got the giant fish-shaped islands flying through the sky, right? Obviously based on an earlier idea from 2024 when I was doing Discover the Magical Worlds Within, which is your imagination. Wow. Right? So, yeah. ChatGPT did a great job with this, right? And then I guess I edited so that was the first day when seeding the idea. Here's the second day, right? So, and look at this, right? Phenomenal. And you got this other style, futuristic and luxurious buildings. Um, so here you got an evolution. Yeah, so then the better one is probably the first one we look at. Here I just edited that part only in Midjourney. Like just edit just this part of it. So Midjourney's better at doing that than ChatGPT. Well, I don't know if ChatGPT could do it. I think these eyes may be in the wrong place a bit here. You could decide what to do with it, right? Figure it out and choose and then and get rid of one. Like, see, I got rid of the face on the back of the head here. Well, I showed you already. So now you see here, I edited it and I also added this here. So this looks better. See? So that was a couple edits, like sequentially. It's a good idea to do them sequentially rather than all at the same time. Do one edit at a time, then you'll get there quicker because otherwise you're trying to do things that are lower probability. It'll take longer, it's lower probability that it will happen. So do the most important or like biggest edit first and just do them one at a time. Here's a sequence that goes, how was this made, right? Well, it evolved from this. That thing itself obviously came from something else, but it is an imagine, right? It's the things that went into it were created and they themselves had to evolve to become what they were, probably, right? In most cases, what I said there is true and probably is true in this case, but it's an imagine, so you can't trace it further back aside from showing those and then if you wanted to show how those things were made, you could, but we're not doing that. So this one, I evolved into that, which I evolved into that, which I evolved into that. Ditto, ditto, with a um, different style reference, of course. And then there again with a different style reference, which I could guess would have been, um, oh my God, it would have been this one over here. So we have the most luxurious villa on the coast of Amalfi, right? Uh, and this is like in a retro futuristic style. So oh, now it's really slow because I'm uploading a video over here. Okay, well that's no good. It's ruining the customer experience or the community, anyone. It's just ruining the experience. Okay, so take a look at that. It's a bit retro futuristic. And then look at this, right? Just take a little gander. Okay, so it's probably that, most likely, right? Now you can see it, right? Now you can't. Right? So when I went from here to here with either a subtle variation or probably a strong variation, I think, when I did that, I don't mean variation, I mean remix, obviously, because if I changed anything about the prompt, including image prompts or style reference, in this case, a style reference, that's what I'm positing right now, right? Well, I changed the style reference to this one. That's why it went from this to that. That's why it looks like this. It has this style reference here. That's what I'm telling you, right? Now, I may not be right, but I could be right too. And then I evolved that into this, probably by changing the prompt. So it's a remix of some kind, whether subtle or strong. and I mentioned the word fractals, right? And then you have this one. That's it. And so that's how it was made. And my dad was there when I made this. Sweet. It was a magical creation. Oh yeah, this is fun. So we've created this new thing, right? Well, I think I'm gonna have to save it. But now we're getting to see the infinite playground coming to life, right? There's a robot there. It's friendly, partly because of the um, philosophy that I've input. Okay, so this is sweet, and the playground is infinite, and the only limit is imagination, and imagination is infinite. But if yours is limited, right, come to join our community, right? Come to our calls. It's going to expand. Check out our interviews, right? You're gonna love it. All right, we don't need that now. That was in order to bring in the energy of the infinite playground. So I said I wanted a prompt. Still didn't do it. It's trying to combine both of them together. That's hilarious. Okay, so it's bringing in that prompt, right? What I had described there before in the thing that we made. Like we might be able to find those. I don't know. You can you can do it with the you can do this with the organize, right? You can do this with the saved thing. So we already found this. We're able to do it. That's good. I was able to show you that. And so in order to see the comparison, then you got to see what Midjourney made. Okay, so I started it, right? And it would be that day, May 30th. So that was the seed day of this, these raccoon creatures in this environment. And ChatGPT did it right away, right? I showed you that May 30th. Huh. Yeah, this year. So we have it here. It did it right away, right off the bat. And the same with the Lemon God one. And then you saw same thing here again today. By accident, I made that, but it's basically doing the right thing. It's basically following the instructions. Here we've got them combined together. It's done that too. I didn't ask for that because I said give me a prompt, and it did that. It did the same thing. Okay, but we could always still ask again. Okay, do not make an image here. Right, right image during prompt. Okay, so I have this prompt. We're just trying it again. I'm going to be a little more specific. Okay, right now this is what I'm telling you to do. Right. Okay, so do that. I mean, literally make a prompt. Okay, it's kind of silly, but we're just doing it anyway to see if we can prove a point. Okay. Should I say don't make art again? Just frickin' write a prompt. It might do the same thing again and make the art. Okay, there. See, I told it twice in here. Actually, I even said that. Okay, but like we said it twice, and then okay, you really? Okay. Now, if you put this into ChatGPT, it will also create it. We'll have them both do it at the same time, I guess, right? We probably could have done that better, but also maybe not. Maybe it won't make any difference. Okay. Now, are we going to use the style? Well, I mean, we do have, like, we got that thing as one image prompt. That it's going to affect it, right? Because it's going to be a completely different thing if you have that and you don't, because in here we didn't have any image prompt, right? So it wouldn't be a good test. Okay, so I got that there, and the style reference could be well, I mean, it can be the same thing, or it can be this cartoon there. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Okay, So yeah, my point was really that I just wanted to add in talking about it being an infinite playground. That thing that we were doing, which was uh, you can bring it up if you have this. Yeah, if we want to still have the thing here with our uh, raccoon world. Yeah, so basically you can see what it was doing at the start, right? And the chat GPT way got it, it did it right away. Now these are different views, right? But like the chat GPT one was basically nailing it right away, right? And so I also edited that in Midjourney, right? And I may have brought in things from the chat GPT one to influence what I was doing in Midjourney, right? It doesn't matter, right? So that's all we needed that for was to show the initial experiment. Okay. So yeah, the infinite playground, as I was saying, that thing evolved. It came, I was making maybe something like this, although it looked quite a bit different, right? And so those you can find, but you need to have the prompt. Well, the prompt was the this is the prompt. Okay. All right, so this thing with the rings, okay, it says like zero gravity. It's got this ring of alien glyphs. The woman's floating through that ring, right? Those are the things that we want to search for. So we can have a ring. I can just put the word woman and ring, right? So we'll do that. We will just create a search. We'll just basically find that, right? Okay, now that should work. So we'll bring that one up. And then you may then see what I mean, right? And we'll also know when we made them. Because if we go back, try to remember, not super easy to do, right? Like go back to 2025 sometime, right? Obviously, we did well, here's a lichen world, but obviously, we have the actual playground, right? That infinite playground. We also have other things. Yeah, like you see what I mean? I don't really know when I made it, right? Okay, so let's do the same thing again here. I just had to toggle that to trigger it. Or maybe you hit reset. I don't know if that would take this off. You can always just play with that because here we're already going, so that's good. But then they're slow because I'm uploading a video. It makes this pointless, right? It's defeating the purpose because now you can't see the images, right? But anyway, earlier ones, you can see it here a little bit. This does have a bit of a style to it, like that Infinite Playground. So then this is probably around that time, right? And that's how that one got created eventually. The one that ended up having those little glyphs raining down, right? So anyway, there. You can see some of the earlier ones there. Okay. All right, cool. So we've got something started. Well, because we've created quite a few, we'll just look at them in an overview first, like this. Or we can go in organize, you can look at your most recent stuff and you can zoom out. You can see it like you're able to look at many more of them faster that way. Okay, so I'll demonstrate something now. So we had a house, we evolved the house into a robot, right? Like this. That one evolved from that, which evolved from that, which evolved from that, which evolved from that. That's one of our first ones where the house became a robot instead of just a house. And there you're back to the house. It's the house that kind of, it was a house, it's the architecture, it was evolving, but we didn't say robot yet. And I said that it kind of looked like one, if you remember. It probably was part two, like the video before this. So yeah, there you go. Right? So that's where I got the idea was from looking at this. And I said it's also a variation of something we did before. That was back in April 2025, right? The evolutions of art, architecture, and society. And that's what you're seeing right here. So I did it again, but that's what we did this time, right? We did something else. There you go. Okay, so now we've taken that to another level. We've taken what we did there, and now we're trying to, it's what like pixelated because of this as a style reference, right? It all makes sense. And don't worry, it's just an intermediate step. We're bringing in this energy of the infinite playground, right? Okay. And we have other images, right? Now we've got a whole bunch of them. We got this one, we got like more of them, right? So we're just going crazy with the creativity because we can feed those into. And hopefully I've saved that because we can feed these images right back into Midjourney. Okay, we got all these, but then there's only two of them there. Okay, there's those two. Okay, well then there's another one. Wait a minute, but that's that one there. So that means I didn't download that or something like that. Because I just copied one from there and then, I mean, moved it. And then I'm like, but that's only two. Okay, now we have three. All right, well, that's the one we're using. All right. Okay, so we can pick one of these. Now, my point is that it's not going to stay pixelated. Okay, you want to do this one? That's more like a building, though, not a robot. Okay, let's do this one then. Strong remix. Um, I'm going to bring this in as content or as the style, but I'm doing it as content. I'm going to take this out as style. We can still have it as content, though, not style. Okay, I'm doing that. But then if we wanted, we could have put that other thing in as style. Or if we want, we could use one of our other ones as style. We have another two. That's the first one we made by accident with ChatGPT. As you can see, it follows the instructions, right? It's incredible. There's the other one. That'll probably work as a style, right? I don't really see why not. We could just put that in too, and then it might not even accept it, but I think it probably would. There we go. We gotta wait for it to upload though. Okay, so this is where I have both words together. I have the prompt from the first one about the building that's a robot, and then I added in the prompt that I used that made the thing that where where it happened to make the image that has a clip in it that where Glyph Rain came from, right? Which is here. Okay, so let's just go whatever, right? I'm just demonstrating that, and you'll see what happens. There's another one. Okay. Should we do the same thing here or try something different? Okay, I'm going to put that in as the style reference now, but not just as content. We're still using that as content. We're going like that. But there is another way, obviously, right? Like what if we have it as content and style reference? Yeah, you see, we just did that. That's what that is. There's another one. We could do that. Wait, yeah, that's another one there. We also have that other one too. I'm kind of leaving that out. Now there's also this hummingbird. What if we use this as our style or that? Well, we could. Well, we totally could. But then we're rebuilding it every time. Um, there, that's the style. And for content, I'm adding in this robot and whatever. So we're using what ChatGPT made, see, and feeding it in. But then okay, well, there's still another possibility. That prompt, as I said, is the first one of what I was making before I combined it with the infinite playground, and I just put the two together. Another way would be to use the prompt that chat, and we hadn't looked at this yet. Um, it would be to use the prompt that ChatGPT wrote as a combination of the two. We're upgrading it, but let's do the other part the same way that we did. So we're still doing the same thing. Yeah, I meant as a style reference. Okay, so that's one way. Now let's do a different variation of that. Okay, so then we'll go here, we'll copy the prompt, then we'll go to this thing, we'll click that to go back to the one that we did a remix of, so we're there, so that we can just click strong remix of it again, select all. Also though, delete these, right? Let's take those out first. Select all, paste, boom, it adds these in immediately. So we're doing a variation of the same thing that we did. So that it's quicker. See, because now I can just do that and I can do it again. See, and I'm just changing one variable. But instead of just pasting it in, remember we could remove those other images first so it's not confusing. So that's the process I would recommend then, right? Um, would be, I'll just show you what I mean. Take these out first, then select all and paste, which drops in the images with it too, because remember when I went and copied prompt, that prompt included any image prompt style references and character references or omni references. They're all part of it. Should we use another one too? Should we maybe try this one, and also see if it accepts the image? Whoops. I don't mean this from the past. I mean this from today. The first one that ChatGPT made, like we accidentally made. There. Okay. So with the prompt that we got ChatGPT in this chat to finally write, we got that. So when I put that in for both Midjourney and ChatGPT, yeah, for both ChatGPT and Midjourney to make, here's what ChatGPT made. And then we'll see what Midjourney made too. I believe we put that prompt in by itself, and we will see. So a whimsical city of gardens and tech, and it reminds me of a thing that I made with roller coasters, which then reminds me of a thing I did with spirals, which is what I based them on, and I can show you that. And that's a work in progress and a partial project too. But those spirals, that's gonna be cool when I continue it, right? Okay. So here we have this. Now, what did yeah, okay, we can just submit that, send it in. Okay. So what did Midjourney do? Let's put them side by side, right? Let's compare it. We need to go back till we get an Imagine, right? Not a remix. Got to go back till we see one that we had created. So we put this in, but this is where we've got a style reference and an image reference. It's not the exact same as what I put in here. We don't know if ChatGPT can do that. We just put a prompt in. Well, we did that here too as a comparison because I was thinking ahead, right? So I did that, and this is what we got. Okay, well, I've made this before. It's like I've seen that. It's kind of seen this before. Okay, so that's what I got here. Now, of course, it depends on the style. It depends on which model you're using. You can customize a model, and you can have like a custom style, and you can whatever. So that's what we got with that. Okay. But then notice it's less creative and it was less able to follow the instructions exactly. And what did DALI do? It more exactly followed the instructions because we wanted a robot that's also architecture and to have an infinite playground, and it's got both in the same scene. It's done it. So it's yet another example, just like I showed you with the raccoon world, later the lemming god fairway, and so on. I think we then saw it again today because it happened here accidentally with that. This? Oh, it's in the other chat. Yeah, because I accidentally made that. Because I was talking about changing the prompt and it just made art. Okay, so there it is. Now, we did also put that complex prompt in with an image. So there's an image prompt in there, but that's just a clip from like a very early Infinite Playground thing. And it's, tiny, right? It's like a view of something in the distance. Okay. So you have to evolve those because, I mean, when you get something good, because it's so pixelated, right? So it was just an intermediate step. And if you get something that's good, you could then evolve it. See, like, I'll just show an example. Like, say we make the style that like that one. Well, that's easy. It's already ready to go like that. Or if we use one of our Creative Haven ones, there's one of the more modern ones. Or we could go back to one of the earlier Creative Haven ones, but not from the very beginning, but something where there's the uh, girl or young woman in the Creative Haven that we first started with. So we've already got that, right? Well, we'll use it. Okay. And then we added this girl to the scene, right? So that we got that one there, which is an evolution of the canonical Creative Haven style. But then we also have these ones. Well, and there's this. This is later. right? That's another thing. Okay, so you can see it right here, or any of those, right? Okay, and then you'll see what happens. So it's like basing it on this content, but changing the style of what you get. So you can see we're mixing the ideas from different sources, and then I'm just saying in general now, right? And then tuning the style once you when you have something that has the content you're talking about. See, there's a robot kind of running there and playing in the park, right? And don't step on anyone, right? And they're also playing, but it's like the thing's like off the ground, right? Because he's actually running. It says this style, but the thing is, it's so pixelated because of that there. Well, all we got to do is take that out. You can do that. And if you wanted to try another thing, you could, and we got that and whatever. It's there. It's there if you want it. It doesn't have to be. But the style reference could really be anything you wanted it to be. Like that will be completely different, right? Or it can be what we've got, right? What we already have. Whoops, what we have there already. Or it could be the one that we first made by accident as the style reference. And I'm pretty sure that thing works, right? We don't really know yet. We've tried it. I just haven't looked at the results yet, right? But we will. Okay. We should probably look at some results now. So we did a comparison using the same prompt. This is with other things in, right? The same prompt got that. This one did that. It beat it way like hands down, right? But can it do this while also inputting an image prompt though? I don't really know. Maybe we can try it. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna try it. We'll do the same thing on one reverse with the other just to see. Um, but do we have it though? Yeah, well, that's the same one. The other thing is, oh, yeah, the other one is like an art style, right? But that was definitely one of them. I'll just go like this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, playground, part of the infinite playground. Okay. So the style was actually what we used here. If we're going to put the same, we want that one to be a style reference. So we're saying make it the style of this image here. Okay, and I don't know where I have it saved. We're not going to waste time figuring that out. We'll just make another copy of it. Or you can just go copy image, right, and drop it in here. You can do it either way. Okay, now the second one. Okay, so just experimenting. Just like it's like, hey, if Midjourney can do it, you can do it too, right? If it's able to follow instructions better, right? Maybe it can do that thing too. So we've put in the same thing in two different ways, and we did it already back here. That was without any. This is with those two images in there in that way. And here I just asked for it literally, and I've never done that before. So I'm just trying it. Okay, and so then that will compare with these. Okay, now while that's happening, right, we will just look at what happened in our experiments in Midjourney and probably be quite amazed, I would say. I would think. Let's do it. Let's see if it what happens in reality, not just hypothetically or there. Okay, see, this is the problem because of uploading a video, like a long video. It's like 25 minutes. Oh, there, it's at the end. No, it isn't. It's near the beginning. Um, whatever. It's just playing randomly. The point is it's uploading. Okay, and that's messing up the internet connection. So that now it was like, let's see the next one. Oh, now you just have a huge block of pixels, right? So that's sweet because the infinite playground's coming alive. Luma and Thistle can be there. Luma could have a giant robot instead of like a little one. Okay, great. See, the ideas are coming alive. Okay, we'll go back to that. So you got Luma and Thistle in a bubble on a pillar. That's Luma. And so is that. But I guess this one's better. Okay, but it's actually the same character. Okay, but then that one's just more realistic. Right. Okay, so here you have Luma and Thistle in a bubble. There they go. Now they're ready. Look, happy, expect positive expectancy, imagination. They're gearing up mentally for an intergalactic adventure. They're going to literally go intergalactic in this from this bubble, right? And then this is their starting point. Okay, so that's Luma and Thistle. Okay, it's this is canonical, right? It's published. It's being published in the newsletter, right? We can't go back. That's it. Now, yeah, they could change. Doesn't matter. The children's books aren't published yet, but there you go. So now Thistle could become giant, right? In this one here. This is gonna be sweet. All right, so we're gonna change it. Well, what style do you want? I don't know. I mean, you can go back to that style too if you want, or you could have it in like this new style. We still don't know if this is acceptable as an image prompt in here in Midjourney, but we're in our process of reviewing the art, so whatever, right? We don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay, so now notice I didn't drop the F-bomb there. I just made it silent. All right. So let's go with this Creative Haven thing, this more modern one from July 20th, 2025. Perfect. So that's the style reference. We're making a strong, yeah, we're making a strong remix of this, right? I'm pretty freaking sure. Good. Okay, well, we need to bring that in. We need like this as part of it. The right one, though. Is it that? It's probably the other ones where they got the clip. Well, that's the full thing. That can work. Or we can use the clip of them. There it is. Sounds good to me. I'm gonna upload that puppy right there, just like this, or drag and drop it. Okay, so it may already be in there too, but I didn't want to look through everywhere and try to find it. See, later things come here like that. You can see that this evolved from it. I was able to get them like in the bubble in the air. It took a long time to get there, but now they were in the air, not just on the ground, and they're floating above a river. But then I added these things. It's collage. That's later. You know that I go here to kind of to try to cover it up, but you can't. You're not going to see my hand covering the part down here. Um, but yeah, okay, so no point in that. But yeah, anyway, so their begins with them starting to float in that bubble over a stream, right, in the creative haven where Luma lives on um the world called Kalora, which is a world based on my philosophy of the joys of creating, which is now the philosophy of aliveness, which is summarized right here. Okay, but they didn't know about that back then, right? And so it was written differently. But it comes from a long time ago. And during that time, right, when you go back in May, not just June, right? And we made a story, then that story is there, and it's like that's it. I like the story, right? And I said, like take the idea and expand it into a story or whatever. Um, and I don't know. Right? But anyway, back then we did make the story idea one day and then made the story the next day, which was probably right here. And that's where Luma and Thistle were born. And then I started making the characters, and then I was like, I chose Luma. Then I said, okay, this is Luma, right? I mean the next one. And we also had chosen Thistle. I'm telling you the story a little bit. Yeah, we chose the, well, you can see right here. So I chose Thistle too. And then we combine them with the bubbles on the pillars, which was seen in another thing. If you want to see it, I'm not going to bring it up right now. We got to make the art show to show it. Uh, yeah, I have it somewhere, but not extremely handy yet. I don't know exactly where. We're not going to bother. I mean, you can if you want to see the clip from if you want to see the clip from the thing, the alien world where Skellor exists, where he is, but was not yet known as Skellor. These bubbles on pillars, which is where they first originated without me trying to. So they were in this art. I clipped them out. Okay, see, so thus again, demonstratively proving the value of making clips when something sparks in you, which is an idea that feels alive. Great. Right. And now for something completely different, which this, I think, evolved out of these things or growths or whatever on the back of a cow, and that cow itself originated from a rhyme of like from Tom Bombadil, Adventures of Tom Bombadil. I just put in this one thing, and she dance this about this cow that dances upon the green and whatever. Okay, so that's good. So now what are we doing? Well, we want that to be part of it. And so this thing here, there. So now it's a giant uh, thing. That's her little AI companion thing. Now here it's showing up as a dragon, but he's also he was in the story a kind of AI like robot thing that helped her because she's a playful inventor. Okay, from the story and the philosophy of it and their world and those characters are based upon myself because I was discussing the philosophy with the DI, ChatGPT, right? I was discussing that philosophy just like today when it's evolving more and distilling and being shared and the interviews, right? So distill it and we got the questions and it had like some preparation or whatever. Okay. So it's like going to be a giant robot and it's going to be Thistle and Luma will maybe be here, right? So this is funny. Okay. So it says this woman is floating effortlessly in the air. We're going to just get this thing rewritten. But the danger with the chat GPT is of it making art when you didn't want it to. Okay. But we know how to get around that now, right? Because you got to say, well, actually just write a prompt. So we're going to use the same template. Oh, crap. But the problem here that I'm getting is that there's no carriage returns or whatever, right? New lines. Okay, there. Okay, all right. Okay, so this infinite playground, um, the thing is that now and Luma, right. Okay. So basically having the giant robot be Thistle magnified and yeah, and then this oh, well yeah, that art is something else. That's we're about to look at that. I got distracted by this. We're talking about this here, okay? This might be Luma here, maybe. Okay? And Luma stands nearby. Robot is far larger. Okay, see if that works. Ah, you can see the image here. Okay, sweet. Yeah. Oh, I showed an example visually. Okay. Write a masterful mid-journey. That's what we want it to do, your task. That's it. It's continuing. And this is something else. Yeah, so that we'll do that. Hopefully it doesn't just make the art. Like, come on. Good, see? It's right away. Okay, so here. This is the other one. Yeah, and as you can see, it's completely different than what Midjourney did with the same inputs. Okay, and that's quite good, right? So, because here's the one where we hadn't put in image prompts. One image prompt and a style reference. Here's when we do that, and that's our style reference. And there's a Puma. Luma in 9D with Puma. Luma with a Puma, but no Thistle. Okay, so there you go. Now it's more colorful, it's more bright, more like the Creative Haven. It's wonderful. I don't know if I've saved the other one. I don't think we did yet with the this. I mean, I'm not really gonna download it twice, right? If I already have it, but the other one, yeah, we're fine. But you haven't seen Skelor. That's true. Well, you might have, but you haven't seen it today, or have you? Well, not in this video. I know that. I can say that for sure. 100%. Okay, here it is. There, so you both. Okay, so you can see that it's quite a lot more colorful. And the blue too is like that. I mean, this style reference here. Yeah, the blue sky like that there. Boom. Okay. So what? Yeah, can it even take that though? We might have to say that it has to be a lot shorter. This is like what? ChatGPT is better at following exact instructions like that. Um, Midjourney is gonna be like, what? Why is it so long, right? Can it even take that? It might be over the limit. I didn't want something that long. Okay, but it's okay if it accepts it, right? So so we're putting that in because we want Luma and Thistle, but then the giant robot has got to be like way bigger. But that's why I wrote it in here. That's why I made it all written out so that it's like, and we did it faster than if we were to type it. Although, yeah, we could have written something really simple, but we would have only had a few words in that amount of time of what we did there, right? That's true. But then here we got even more words, right? The more detail can be good, the more professionally written, more like things um, explained in the scene or whatever, and it might work better. But then you could try the same thing with like a very simple version. But we can ask for that here too, because we're already okay. But I put the prompt in and it's trying to make it different. Okay, but I want it way shorter than that. Good. Okay, so hopefully that works. So remix of this, right? But with those image prompts. Well, it shouldn't be hard to do, right? Do we know what they are? Yeah, I mean, that was my image prompt, and we got a style reference in there, which could be whatever you wanted it to be. Oh yeah, I had that. Okay. And it could even, you could do the same thing if you want with the other one, or one of these, which we made today as the style reference. We still want to find out if this works, remember? But we haven't, we may not have checked, right? The thing is, I don't think that we've even looked, so we don't know yet. So we can continue reviewing and we'll see that. Because I just got that idea along the way and we just did it and we'll find out what happens with it. And this is pretty cool. So I guess that's Luma, whatever. Like it's not going to be perfect every time, right? It's going to try things. But here, little girl, this thistle, blue, like dragon thing because of the, this in this you can see that there he's a blue dragon, little. Okay. Right. So it's just rolling the dice when you try different ones, but you can do multiple. You can make it do multiple of them. If it's giving you stuff that might be good or like similar, you can just say to rerun that same thing. Although that probably won't work with a remix of that thing because you'd just be rerunning the same prompt, just imagining it. If you hit a rerun on that, it wouldn't actually be remixing that same one with that. Although it might, but from my experience in the past, it wouldn't have. I think it looks like it does do it, so it may have just been they didn't think of that before, but now they have thought of it. Right? It could be that. So you always got to just try things and see what works. I'm seeing an influence from the style reference in there, right? You're probably seeing that too. All right. It's cool. It's a bit like a citadel up there. It reminds me of another thing somewhere else, but that's probably because it says domes in it or whatever, like we had before. Okay. Right. It's like an infinite playground. Okay. So yeah, I still wonder. Well, we'll look through. We can go in the opposite direction. Now here you can see that that's one where we use that as the style reference. Okay. It obviously worked. This is what we got. And then you could say, well, what were we doing though? Well, we were remixing something, right? And I was always doing a strong remix unless we're just touching something up, like unless we're just changing it slightly. But you'd usually use strong first and then subtle later. Because first you're making larger changes because you're exploring and you're also trying to make it go in a certain direction or whatever. And subtle change is when you're closer to a finished product. So this is what we were strong remixing, which itself is a remix, most likely a strong one of that, which is when we brought the infinite playground influence into it, which pixelated it because the image was a little clip from one, which we know, which was a remix of that, which was a remix of that. So now if we hit the back button, we're now going forward. Boom, boom, boom. See, as I told you, because here it's just to get the content. It doesn't matter about what the style is. You can always change the style, right? So that's what we did there. And I'm like, oh, look, he's like running. It's like, holy, that could be a little dangerous, but hopefully he's looking where he's going and he keeps track of all those and everything. And they're also watching out for him or who knows what. Okay, so the next one was this, right? He's running apparently. This other one's like striding. Yeah, and that one's walking or maybe running, but it's got quite the eye on it. Yeah, I saw a robot dog recently, up close. It's funny. All right, so yeah, so you go back. There you go. So that actually is what it's from. Yeah, so we started it, and there you can see what I mean. So that's using this style, and that makes sense. Okay, that's what's happening here. Good. Now we'll just continue with our exploration, our reviewing, because we may not have seen them all. So yeah, we saw that, and so I've demonstrated what I was telling you before, right? So you saw, and that proved it. Okay. That you could do, you could put clips in, you can use them as content or as style reference, either way, but there's a different meaning because one's more to make it a style, one is to bring the content in of that thing. We wanted to make it like an infinite playground. But and it was like pixelated from the clip, but it doesn't matter because you can use it as as an intermediate, but you have to then do a strong remix of it and remove the thing from the image prompt from it there, which is what I did, and choose a different style reference to influence the style. So that process works. I've generalized it. I did that in the past. I just showed it to you, and it worked right away. Right? I proved it yet again with a new example, and I know the style reference that we used to get this, right? Because it's that little thing when I said something different. And if you trace back how this one was made, I would then show you that. And it's getting rather late. And if we do that another time, especially if I remember to do it, we can even make a note of it and do that. Or we can say that's an example of something we could do. It's an opening for future sparks. But we could show how this originated on the back of a, a cow. You can see where that cow came from, the evolutions of that cow, how we got some weird stuff growing on the back of the cow, and then I evolved that. Then I get these things, and then later I'm like, twinkle, twinkle. No, no, yeah, something about a star, right? Like, because you know that thing that says, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, or something like that. And I changed it to like, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you're housed. So then it's the house of a star. It's a star. It's the star's house, right? It's a house that houses a star. And then the words showed up on it too because I put it in quotes, but I didn't want that. But anyway, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder how you're housed, right? Instead of where you are. Okay, so, but that came later, right? So earlier there was the cow. So that's something we could show in another one. Okay, so this is quite whimsical, and you can see what we're using. Like that went in as content. Absolutely, it did. And this is an infinite playground, right? There's freaking roller coasters, and then within that, there's stuff in there, and then, you know, in, well, this is an image that we already have saved, right? Okay. And so the clip that I can make from that, if I'm looking at that part of it, not this one, the other one, and not that one either. I meant this, just because I happen to be looking at this. So yeah, say that, right? Okay, well, I'm gonna open it up in Paint, and then I'm just gonna clip that part, but I'm not gonna change that image. I'm just gonna save as a different one, which will be a clip from it. Otherwise, like, if you did a screenshot, then you wouldn't be getting all those pixels, right? Because it would be like at a different size. Like if I screenshot that, right? If we were to do this, Control Shift S, and you do that, well, then the thing that you got there is like, look, it's way smaller. There, see that? So then you didn't get all the pixels. Okay, so anyway, Um, and look, there's this thing above it too. I'm talking about over on the side here, right? Ignore her. I'm talking about this, right? So, like, do we want to include that or not? I don't know. Either way, right? Either way, whatever you want. Okay, I'm using this part. You can even go that. It's a bit Dr. Seussish, Seussian. Would it be Seussian? I don't know. So now instead of saving, I'm going to save as, right? I'm going to save as there. Bye. So I'm going to make it a clip from that. See, now it's traced back to that one. It's a clip from that. Because I always tack that in at the beginning. I always tack it in on I have a naming convention. So at the beginning of the file name, clip of this, clip underscore that means clip of it, mod underscore whatever would be something modified from that. It's also shorter to the right than the word edit. Okay, so that's part of my naming convention. So if it says clip mod something, that meant that it was the mod of something and then a clip from that. In other words, we're always prefixing, we're always adding something into it, we're always prefixing it. And we can continue to play and expand our infinite playground. And there are many seeds here, right? Every authentic expression is a seed of infinite creation. And any of these things and any clip, right, that you make, and I got to show you the other thing as I told you that I would, um, can be expanded, right? Any clip can be expanded too, right? And so then we could see this in more detail. And you could ask ChatGPT to describe it, right? If you want to be lazy and not explain it all yourself, then you could. You see, we could. But I do have to show you the thing about the clip because I'm kind of backing up what I'm saying, right? So that's the clip. But then I say write a masterful mid-journey prompt for that. Right. But then it's like it might just make the art. Okay, but I'm saying to write a prompt. Also notice it's been writing prompts, not making art, so it might be clear that it needs to just make a prompt. See now in Midjourney, we can just simply upload that image. And then ChatGPT is already writing us the prompt. But it's making an image. No, no, no. It's writing a prompt, but it's super long. Okay. So, because at the same time, of course, we would just upload the image in here. So where the image is going in as an image prompt, it's an influence, it's content, right? We're not trying to get the style from that. The style can be the same thing as what we've already created, which would be any of these, right? Any of these are fine for style, right? They're probably all the same. You could also use a different one like that, this polished thing with the hummingbird, but that I chose, or that, or we can make a combination of them. And then if you went back to one of the earlier, or it could just be this, right? Or even the first, but then it's that style is different, right? What it came from earlier. But then if you also put this in, you're offsetting it a bit the other way too. So anyway, but notice we didn't have to write anything unless we wanted to. Okay, and that was done without me even explaining what it is. But if you want to say that it's some kind of playground machinery, like some kind of fun thing to play on or whatever, you could say so. Like rerun will just do the exact same. But if we copy the prompt and paste it in, we can now do it differently. Holy. Right. Okay. It says playground tower there. Okay. So I just oversimplified it there. But I use the same style though. I use the same bottom part of the prompt and also some of the other stuff talking about other things and butterflies and stuff, right? I left in a bunch of it. I just took out the thing talking about that thing at the top there. And then if you want to see it come alive, you can say make it as a video too. And then it gets really crazy. But you should have it in the style you want first. Otherwise, that'll be kind of silly, right? And just a waste of the credits. All right. It's lovely. Now, what if that thing could fly too? Maybe it could. Um, well, it has to detach, but then it could. Whatever, right? Leave that for another time. Okay, as I said, we gotta provide proof. Okay, where is the thing? Well, we gotta look it up. This is where the bubbles and pillars came from. I made that clip. Well, where's Skeller? He's in the rest of the image. This is just a clip from that one. Okay, well, we gotta actually know. You can go into a file which will then link to it too, but like to me, it's gonna be just and we have it saved locally, so we can go through it that way too if you want. Not hard to do that either. Like the file should be right here, right? And then you could look if it is in there. I mean, it could be in the ones that haven't been added to it yet too. But whatever. Let's just say that it's in here, but the file name isn't on the clipboard anymore. Why not? How could they? Okay, I think that this thing will show up here. There. Okay, it's where the bubbles and pillars originated. See, it says that there. But then the parent image is right here. So just click it. See? Okay. So then you'll see where that is and you'll see Skelor. But I have it saved too. Well, if we summoned the image, then we would get it. We summoned that one wherever it happens to be. It showed there July 14th. That's where it's saved. It doesn't mean that I made it that day, but I saved it that day, July 14th, 2025. And there he is, Skelor, or one version of him, because you can see in the clips of from Alien Worlds, which also takes us back here, which I showed you in the other one, right? That's a whole other story. Art, architecture, and society. That whole art show was built on the back of that. But it was also built on the back of a hippo. But more on that another time. Okay, so yeah, this is one of them. That was another. No, it's not. It's not from the exact same parent because you can see that right here. If it was, then it would have the same UUID. I mean job ID. So that would have been the same, but it isn't. And it says index one. And the other one would be a different index from the same, but it isn't. It says A8E, and this one says 157. See, they're completely different ones. But this other one has another thing, that other creature like this looks different. But you can see right here the other ones on that same job. So now notice if you look here where the bubbles and pillars are, where they first originated, here they aren't there. Here they are in index one, and here they are not as well in the other one. But then this could be Skelor. or that could be scalar, or that could be scalar. This is basically scalar right here. And that's what I said it is. Now the other one though could also be scalar, and we can look at it. And I'll just show it to you because we're looking, uh, so we might as well. So we're just gonna freaking type that thing in there, right? We're just gonna type that one in and look at it and just be able to flip between the two of them. The two of them, that's a raccoon world. Pattern recognition. Okay, that's what we want right there. And index 2, which I'm mirroring, reflecting the exact same. I'm just keeping it the same. There he is. Is that scalar or is that scalar? Um, Either way. Well, who is scalar? You want to know about him? You want to read about him? Read all about it. Maybe. Got to get out of that summoner thing, image summoner. Okay, so you got to look it up. Search the Zettelkasten content for scalar, or even just the titles. Okay, files about scalar. So scalar could be a character. Uh, yeah, we could make an issue of the newsletter about like this. That's what it says. Okay, we can also look at, I mean, this is one we can look at, but the other thing is that we can see any notes that have scalar in them. So search Zettelkasten content. Now every single one of these notes mentions scalar, not just in the title, because yeah, that one there we already saw that, because any of the ones where scalar's in the title are right here. There's only two. But look at how many of them have scalar in the content of the text of the notes. A whole bunch of them, 34. Okay, well that's where glyphs started, but that's not where the bubble and the pillar started. Here about the intergalactic adventure. See, and look at the dates. See, I'm not making this stuff up. It's all legit. Not that I got to prove anything. Okay, it's just funny. So let's just go with the one about Skeller, I guess. I mean, it could just be wherever we first mentioned it. I don't know why this is here and like what is going on with that. And did we mention Skeller? And what the heck about Skeller? What is that? And why? And what's so important about Skeller? Well, he's an important character. Now, the thing is now Skeller's also based on me. Skeller's also. What kind of word is also? Like Orson Welles also, if he didn't write, no, if he also wrote 1984 in some way. I don't know. Let's just go here and take a look at it. Well, Skeller sounds like a mythic being. Well, that's ChatGPT, or as call it, JoyPT for short, right? Because of the joy, right? And joy, the joys of creating, JoyPT, or J for short, right? Meaning JoyPT. So, and we can prime ChatGPT to be like that. And I just take it for granted after that, or I don't even bother. But we can, and I can give you the priming prompt you want, or sell it to you if you want it to in the other way, if you want to give me money for it. So Skeller. Now this is important. So this, I don't know if that's the first time we mentioned it. Okay, or one of his parallel world beings. Is this the one we're looking at there? 157 underscore 3? Yes, right? That's no, that's another one. It's what we looked at. It's what when we're looking at it here, right there, or one of his parallel world beings, right? But we were saying this is Skiller because that's where the bubbles and pillars started. That's it. But it's like, well, maybe that's him, or should that be him? Well, maybe it's pretty good, right? But we have this other one too, because I have the other clip. I have this, and maybe that's Skeller, but you got to choose which one you think is Skeller, and then it might not even stay the same. And we already made something with one of them, and whatever. And then you might have to search for Skeller. We might have art. We might have put the word Skeller into it, but we don't know if we have. But you can easily check that if you want to. And I don't even know if I already have a uh, save search for it or not. And the thing is that it wouldn't have to say Skeller in it to draw Skeller. Like you don't have to have that word in there because that's just my name for that character. But it means something. And then I think we made it symbolic, or we have the letter. Yeah, well, you can see there because it's coming up quite quickly. Probably the video's already uploaded, which is why it's there. So, which is why it's now quicker and normal or whatever. And now you get to see freaking Skelor. See, because I put those images in and I built them, and you can see a heart on that. See, if you want only the ones that are being liked, they're filtering. It's curation. Boom. There's only one, right? So we created that thing of Skeller. It says the word Skeller. See, by putting their name in, then it's easier to search because then you're filtering based on just the name of a character or something. And then it won't show anything that doesn't say Skeller in the prompt when you do that. So I just searched for Skeller, right? There you go. I didn't even capitalize it, right? Doesn't matter. Boom. And if you do them in a different style or whatever, I mean, what if it's like Luma and 9D? Or what if it's like that? It could be that was Thistle, but it's in a certain style, right? Which comes from another thing, which that background kind of looked like a game. But that other thing, you don't see it here. I'm just referring to it. I know what I mean. You may not, but I'm referring to something. So, right, of course, Luma and 9D though, right? What if that's the style reference for it? Okay, but it doesn't really look like him though, right? It doesn't look like it. So I was trying to make Skellover. I also liked those ones. He's quite rooted in the ground here in any of them because of the image that we based them on, right? And I got those. I was working on it. That says Omni reference there. Bye, right? I don't know why. It just is, right? You can see what I put in there. And that was the other one there with the index 3. I think it's that one, right? So we tried it. We already did this. We started making Scalar and trying to do it and whatever. And it tends to get better. So it's like it would be doing the same thing in a later version of Midjourney is probably going to work better, basically. But that's about it. Because I told you I was just going to show you that. So that's good. I've done it because that's where the bubbles and pillars came from. Bubbles on a pillar came from, and it happened in there. But I was like, but Skeller's in that, and you can see him. But then what about what is it about Skeller though? Well, the thing is, you can do leverage. Now we got to find one of the notes that's hopefully we're actually recording. I'd be quite devastated if the whole thing if I was like paused during this. No, no, we're definitely recording. We're over an hour and a half. Okay, so yeah, when we search for in the content of the Zettelkasten, which is a knowledge base, right? A note file, right? Flat. So all these they're all in the same folder, but like every one of them has a number and it's date time. And so you know exactly when you made it, but it goes to the second here. It's gonna be all to the second. Okay. So if we look for the other thing, which was leverage, right? And then we see only the ones that have scalar and leverage, then maybe that will be where it explains it. And I'll just cheat by asking ChatGPT just because we don't want to waste any time, right? So just intersect scalar and leverage. Right. And basically we're just looking for where it talks about scalar. Okay. So we did that. We looked it up. I did a demonstration of something from the knowledge base, but we'll have smarter searches too, which are also in development. So that I'm not even using that stuff at all. Like we're not using what we already partially figured out, right? Um, but we're just building it from the basics there. And the search thing, this thing is like wrapping ripgrap so that just so we can just do it quicker without having to create the command. So sz means search settle. So it's just searching the titles. And then sz is search settle content. So it's finding it within them. Because when I just did the thing only with the titles, we only got those two, but then that one doesn't have it. But I have a, like, for me, I have a feeling that it would be in here though. Or at least if you follow that, like it might have something. It means that Skeller is mentioned in here, and it actually does. He's probably right in there near the top. See, and it's summarized. The dragon means that everything is possible. It's the dragon from 2023, 0707, right? It's July 7th. So this dragon, that's the dragon. Combined with, just for fun, energy number 18, uh, yielded this, which is the strange and beautiful creature, which is what I talked about in the uh, F issue one. There's that creature fully drawn, which I filmed myself doing like with one hand. But the other ones, which is harder to do, of course, these ones I drew before, right? I didn't film the actual drawing of those things there. This one I did, but it was harder to do. Okay, and so then we use this, or maybe that, I think this, and we turned it into the dragon, as well as with the color of the pebble in my hand that I got from the river, and I was basing it on the inspiration I got when I was at the river. So that's the story that's told in the beginning of the joys of creating the issue one, and it's all explained there. And now you can see the both inputs, right, and a combination, and this is just one possible result. So that's the dragon. Everything's possible, right? That's in the first issue. We show how the dragon was made. It's called the spark of the dragon. See, I followed a spark, changed my life. This newsletter helps you follow yours. Every issue of it is a transmission of aliveness, just like this video is. I'm making it now live. Skelor. Here's how you catch, focus, and compound the possible. Skelor is about leverage. It's almost in his name, like scale, right? Now, that's probably the only mention in the whole file. Well, there's this too. But then, yeah, there's this. Okay, and that's just applying that concept. This doesn't tell us more about scalar. Okay, I know that. There. Forward it. It's intersect. No, no, I wanted you to do it. Right. Okay, yeah, that said, here's how you could do it. That might that might work, but it also might not even work on mine. I think I've done that before, but we did it by making a program where you have this and then and that and just intersect them and then tell me that list. And I've already made it and already forgotten. And then we were working on all these like smart searches, right? So those are just, everything got into an upheaval because of my after my dad died. So I had to wait, right? I had to come back to it later. Okay. But this thing was supposed to just simply give me the intersection because I already listed them. So I meant you just do it with that because I'm like making a video right now and people are watching and I'm like, just do it. I just meant just do it and just tell me which ones are intersection. But then it said how to do it. Well, we didn't need that because I already gave you the information. And we don't know if this would work. All right. So yeah, we already saw that, right? So um so that's good that this worked, right? So we tested it and it worked. And this is saying make an intersection of scalar and leverage. So these are files, they're note files that have both words in the file. So that's good because that we can then we could make a batch thing, and if you were to any terms, well, we don't know because we know it works for two. So if you pass two terms in, then one would go there, one would go there. You could do that, and you could say that make batch script two variables, right? And so then you would do something, but we don't know what it's called. But then it would be intersecting the two. And but the thing is, just saying where something isn't the only test because if that thing happens to be a name or something, a command, you would have to test it by typing it in. So you have to do both that and this to test it. I mean, to test if that name is free. But it is free because we didn't get it with either one. See, so that's the thing that I want it to be called. So if we do that, then it would basically, we say put the two, and then the two things go in, and then they would go here and there, and then we've generalized it, and then we'd have a new part of our language where we could do an intersection of two things, and it would then create a command. It would just make that command and run it. See, and so then you wouldn't have to type in that command. You would just say like intersect and put two words, and then it will do it. See? So I'm just trusting it basically, but you can still look at it, make sure it makes sense, make like you got to do that for your own security, right? But that is the code which then puts that together. It does the same command, but it builds it together from the two variables put in. So if I save that as another command, right? And we call it int, then and that thing's on path, user path, then now if we want to, we can intersect those things easily. As an example, scalar leverage, and then get the same answer, right, as that, which was our proof. I just built that. See, so that's building the language, right? So we just added that. Pretty good, right? And that was done with AI. So I just showed you that. And I did it in about the simplest way too, because I just left it up to the imagination of the AI of what I meant. But I've also made things before, but I just said it like that. And without saying, yeah, I want the first one to go there and the second one to go there. I left that part out. I implied it. And it worked. Okay. So, but the thing is that which one, what are we talking about? Like that, we looked at it. It's not this one. Um, there's that. What's this? That's stupid. There's something wrong in the title of that, right? Which is why it's screwing up here. It's okay. Ignore that though. That's a different thing. And you'd have to debug that and figure out how, and then you could make it actually work. But it's because there's a certain character in one of the titles, and we're not going to bother with that right now because that's an edge case. And then once you have solved it, you won't have that problem anymore. And also, we could ban characters from being in the titles. And like when I make a new thing, if I have that in it, that will be bad. We can't have these parentheses in the title. It will mess up, right? So we can make it filter that so that it doesn't happen. Like I haven't done that yet, but you can. See, and so we can add this back in, editing the file, and then it's there. And that's how that's there. Because if you put it and said make a new note called this, it wouldn't work because of the parentheses, which you'd have to get rid of. Like for example, doing that would then it's acceptable. But then the M dash, right? If you have an M dash instead of just a regular dash, then it may screw it up. And this thing, I don't know what it is. Anyway, that's my point. It's because of a different character, whatever that character is. You also, of course, can't put in colons in a title, but that's because that's a legal character to be in a file name. So anything that's not legal wouldn't work. And so we filter those out. We'd be filtering out parentheses because I know it doesn't work. And unless there's a way to make that work, because that's another level of it. That's happening for a different reason. But this, any character that's not allowed to be in a uh, file name would have to be filtered out, and we would add that filter so that the thing is more bulletproof. See, that hasn't been done yet. Okay, so what else do you have here? It basically doesn't say it. It's not. I'm not seeing anything there that would be about Skeller except for this. Um, but you can still check that one. So I'll just open that note. Okay, well, let's take a look for Skeller thereby. It says archetype of applied possibility, alignment, leverage, compounding. Oh yeah, we have the dragon, remember? Archetype of infinite potential, raw creation possibility. We start the thing, whatever. I'm not going to go into the newsletter. Things relate to other things, right? It'll go on forever. There's no point in that. Okay. The point was I just wanted to have the thing that talks about Skeller. That's obviously just the AI asking me a question. Okay. Um, they Scalar like a council of creation. Well, maybe, yeah, it might be a good idea. You want to do that? I don't know. Do it if you want. You can just say, well, you asked me this in the past. You want to do that now? Okay, do it if you want. And it's going to be like, what? When the heck did we even talk about that? What are you doing? Like, it might not remember what I'm talking about, but you could also go, okay, but I meant this, right? All right, well, let's try it. Upload a file, paste the full path in, right? Check it. Oh yeah, so then we say do that now. Oh shit. Oh, that can happen, right? But I'm just saying that's what I say. I'm giving it some context because it's like, well, this whole file here is talking about it's a part of a chat from the past and I clipped it on this day, right? Is September 4th, just before writing the first issue of the joy, well, kind of like finalizing, not really finalizing, just before the day that I wrote the issue that when I had written it and it was too long. This was the day before that. When I actually published it is later. Um, but anyway, about Skeller. Okay, we'll just everything in here. Well, you can see all the lines that have Skeller in it right here. You can jump to any of them if you want to see like whatever's around them. Okay, but that's basically it. Okay, he's a dragon descendant who teaches how to catch sparks and forge them into lasting systems. See? Because he's not just the dragon is just infinite possibilities, but Skellor has evolved from the dragon, as it says right there. Boom. And he teaches how to catch sparks and forge them into lasting systems. So he's got system design, he got system view or whatever, looking at things, systems thinking, right? He looks at he creates them. He also understands leverage. Okay, so at least I told you a little bit about Skellor. It wasn't all in vain, right? We created something and it says, and I said it's great, and it said, yeah, right? This chat itself is proof of the magic. You bring living systems, right? Or I bring sparks or signal, right? A feeling from within, stuff that meant something, it felt it's meaningful, like what we were creating today. Right? Like what we created today. You can look at stuff in organized too as an overview. Get rid of the save search, right? This unselect it. Get out of there. Okay, like that. All right, see, we got new Skellors. We made more. Because we did variations of it. Got sparkles in the eyes here. Boom. Right? It's incredible. What about if it's a different, whoa, no, what if it's like a subtle variation of it with a different style? That's not the same thing as a strong variation with a different style. Absolutely. But we did one subtle, we'll do one strong. There. See how easy that is, or how quick, right? At the speed of thought. What the heck is this? Well, it's experimentation. It's trying to get Luma and Thistle in the same bubble, not just in the freaking ground, not in the river, up in the air, right? It's a challenge somewhere. So we made Skeller in the past, but why do we even see this? Why is it happening so fast? Right? I don't know. What I meant to show you, because I was trying to get rid of this, right? Get rid of Skellor and the Gecko King, everything. Nothing, right? We didn't want, you can't select multiple save searches, just one. But I wanted to unselect it, so I just see the new stuff. What are we looking at here? It's just showing everything. Apparently, it's just that it's scrolled way back. Yeah, so now, see, this is great. And if I zoom in or zoom out, right, you're just looking at an overview of it. So you can see more images at once. It's copying some kind of superhero. It's a combination there. It might be a new one, right? Might be worth exploring. It's up to whoever's creating. See, the reason that this is like more like less clear and stuff is because of this one being in the is because of this um, style reference being in there. That early canonical Creative Haven, like very early, first one, right? If you didn't have that, it wouldn't be. And also, it's also pixelated because of this one being in there, that little clip. Remember, because once you evolve it, so if you pick one that you like say, so then when we evolve that, we take out the image reference, right? Keep the style references, but I'm dropping that one too because I had that hunch there. Bye. Okay. And then I could also say bye for real, right? And we can end it. The other bye is the I's the bye in this song. I's the bye that builds the boat. I's the bye that sails her. I's the bye that catches trout and brings them home to lies her. Now, that's not the actual song. It because I changed it. I put in trout because it rhymes with boat a bit, kind of. I's the bye that builds the boat. I's the bye that sails her. I's the bye that catches fish and brings them home to Lizer. He does it all. Jack of all trades, right? But then master of none. But it's highly versatile and it has a lot of fun because he's building because he's building the boat and sailing it too, trying to do everything. And I think he's running himself ragged. There's no point in doing everything. Like it's not the best way to do it. Separation of concerns. Yes. Specialization. We got lots of people, right? You don't have to do everything. Find people that do stuff well. You do what you do well. I think we flourish more that way. It's just my opinion. It works, right? But then don't take it too far either, right? So there's balance. We can discuss this. There's, we don't need to just go all hog wild, totally one way or the other. That's why we needed the joy circuit. There's a story about the joy circuit. We could search the Zettel content for it, or even search our joy system, joy of creating, which everything is in, right? It's not the Zettelcast, and it's just whatever. If we look in it, this would be looking for files, right? And this would be looking in the content. Um, I forgot. Too bad. Okay, so this thing, dancing and prancing along like that, whatever, right? So we were trying to make it um, so that we get Thistle as a giant robot with Luma. Luma has Thistle, but then he's a giant robot instead of small like the other thing. That's what we tried. I don't know if it worked. It's something that we were trying. You'd have to kind of look through them. You got to know what it is. I just explored. I tried different things at the same time. I didn't just like do one thing, which would be simpler, but because of doing the different things, then you kind of have to figure out where it is, and we probably don't see it. But yeah, it might be this stuff. Like maybe that's Luma there. Now remember, it can evolve, right? So, and what's up here? This is weird, right? Right? It's totally weird, right? Um, okay. We're evolving it, right? Because it needs to take multiple steps to get to like exactly what you want or to be closer to it or whatever. So you want to iterate something. So whatever one is closest or like reminds you of it or whatever, use that. Because don't try to do it in one step or just one or two or even just three, right? Let it go through iterations. That will get you there better, right? Because you don't need it doesn't have to be immediately the thing. But for something difficult, complicated, like highly complex or whatever, notice that ChatGPT gives you a better first approximation right off the bat because it's following the instructions and giving you the whole scene. And then you can input that image into Midjourney as the image prompt, right? So use ChatGPT to give you something if it's like highly complex to explain and stuff because it's better at doing that, right? And then you could still feed that into Midjourney if you wanted, if you're changing it, even just editing a part of it, or you want to evolve from something that's like a good starting place because it does pictorially, like visually represent kind of what you're going for. So you'll get there quicker if you use DALI, right? If you put it in ChatGPT. Okay, you got the Council of Creation here. At least this version of it, right? And there you got the dragon, you got the Skeletor, but it's depicted Skeletor like this instead of like the other thing, but I also didn't show it. Like remember, we didn't tell it what Skeletor looks like. We didn't put in an image. And if we do, it could be any of our things. Like we made new ones today, right? You could put Skeletor in there, but you could also you and this is making it a bit like a human, right? Like a man, because he's in it. It's like someone in a costume, right? They're wearing that costume, so it could be a human in it wearing that thing. But see, it could potentially be that, or it might not. But those ones could. That's what they could also be. But we have what we based it on, right? As well as the actual original ones. So if we put in an image of Skeletor like how we want him, then it will redo that like that. So you could do that now. If we put that image in there, we could say, oh, but Skeletor looks like this, right? Or whatever. What is this? Oh, that's another one? Yeah, yeah, because in this one I gave the context of the file. In the other one, I didn't do that. I just said that, but we didn't give that context of it. Okay, and we got that. And I'm still gonna save it just because that's what it happened to make, and it's kind of interesting. Okay, there. That's what we're saying. Now the other one would be did to do that. We want it to do that, but here it did it in writing, right? Because we said make that, draft it. Yeah, do it with make an image. Um, there. Okay, we did it. Sweet. Okay, so I just showed you remixing both Midjourney and ChatGPT in both directions, right? And why? I just showed you that. Because Chat Midjourney can't necessarily just like make a complex scene that's described with a lot of details, but ChatGPT seems to be able to do it more easily, and it's I've tried it multiple times, right, and it's worked, and I even showed you multiple examples in this very video. So this has been quite a great new success of our exploration of art, architecture, society, and fun. There. Thank you very much, and see you soon. What's that? Oh yeah, they're getting ready. Intergalactic adventure coming soon.